Have processing times improved in the last 2 years?
We've noticed some improvement, but again, if we're going by what I consider the gold standard, it's not where it needs to be. It's not where it should be, and it's my opinion that Senator DeWine, if he's elected Attorney General, will take us back to the gold standard.
Is it your view that it's just a matter of they're overwhelmed because of the amount of work? Is it a matter of they just don't have enough staff and they need more staff? What would you say is the problem over there?
Well, I can't hold myself out as an expert in the management of crime labs. I don't know if any of my colleagues here can do that as well. It certainly appears that there are not enough individuals who are forensic scientists who are able to do the job that needs to be done. I can't say that there are more now than there were in maybe 2005, 2006. I don't know what the numbers are. Frankly, that's something, we have enough trouble managing our own offices and managing the caseloads. I was just shocked when Aaron was saying how many indictments he has in little old Adams County, because I think we're at about 418 right now, is the most recent number that we had. And you have how many?
328 as of last Thursday.
And what's your population?
28,000.
We're 145,000, and we review a lot of cases, and I know that we're trying to churn as many as we can and do a good job on those cases that we get. But that's an explosion of, it's an apocalyptic proportions actually, if you want to state it that way, because that's an enormous increase in the number of cases that he's seen. So yeah, we're all seeing increases, and it appears that there has to be some focus that's going to be there in BCI&I to address those increases, and if that takes additional personnel, it takes a reassignment of personnel from other areas to what we consider the most important function of government, that is to protect the public.
I was just hoping to clarify if there was no contact with the Attorney General himself. You have not gone to him prior to this to say, Mr. Cordray, we have problems, we need help. Has that been done?
Well, as I indicated, that, unfortunately, I think we have to accept things the way they are. That's the way we kind of look at it. Either you accept things the way they are, or you try to get other options. As I said, in our case, we've some of our more recent cases where we really wanted to keep somebody incarcerated in a pending drug case. We've sent the evidence to the Newark Police Department crime lab. So to say that we go out there and knock on the door of the Attorney General and say, Mr. Attorney General, please, set your priorities. If the Attorney General would, he hasn't come to us either and said, what do you need?
I guess maybe I don't know the protocol, but why wouldn't you, or any of these folks who are talking? I hear what you're saying, but why wouldn't you go to him at some point and talk about these issues?
Well, for one thing, I think there's a discouragement factor, to be honest with you, that if it appears that you have an Attorney General who is more concerned about what the Innocence Project is doing than what prosecuting attorneys and victims are experiencing, that you get discouraged. And I think that's one of the things that is out there with a number of us. But I think, Gary, you wanted to make a comment.
Yeah, the question, wait till I get up here. The question was, I think, whether or not the times have improved, and again, I can't speak to this personally, but I think some of my colleagues have indicated it has. The issue is, if this is the problem, this isn't the answer, all right? If you go from 90 days turnaround time to 75, that doesn't do much good, because you're still going to be out of speedy trial time by the time you get your lab submitted and by the time you get your results right. And the reason I say that, or the point that I wanted to make when I came up here, is that we have looked at some of the numbers and compared what's happening at Miami Valley Regional Crime Lab as compared to BCI&I. And there are efficiencies out there to be achieved. There are times that can be turned around and it can be reduced, and that's a management issue. As I said, on comparable case, on a comparable case basis, I think we've got, people at Miami Valley doing approximately 3 to 1 on drug cases. So there's management issues, there's control issues, and efficiencies can be achieved.
When did your crime lab begin operations?
It was prior to my time. I can't
Do
tell
you have
you.
an approximate?
I
We
couldn't.
talking 80s, 90s?
It was
It was in
at least in the 80s.
'70s.
Se-
It was in existence then.
Yes. That's prior to my time.
I have a question for Mr. DeWine.
Sure.
After having talked with the prosecutors and looked at this situation, could you put any type of price tag on what you think it would take to fix this, to make things, to improve the situation that we're talking about today?
No one thinks that there's going to be excess money in next year's budget. But I want to point out a couple things. A number of the prosecutors have talked about priorities. This is a question of priority. And when someone runs for public office, they have an obligation to look the voters in the eye and say, this is what is important to me. This is what I will do when I'm the Attorney General. And what I'm telling the voters of this state is fixing this problem is my priority. And we will move resources from other places in the Attorney General's office, if we have to do it, to fix this problem. Because this is a core, essential function of government, the protection of people. And what we do and what they do, what BCI does, what the Attorney General does, is provide essential services to those people who are protecting the public. Second point, if you look at the productivity of BCI, what you find is their productivity is not even close to the productivity per person of other crime labs. The statistics that I talked about this last week, and we're more than happy to pass out the chart that shows this. These are not our statistics. These are statistics that were provided by the different crime labs in the state, including BCI. But if you look at just DNA, and we talk about a lot of things today, but just DNA, the number of samples completed per analyst per month, that average at BCI is 11.76. Lake County is 16.08. Hamilton County is 41.98. Columbus Crime Lab is 37.31. Miami Valley is 25.67. Mansfield is 20.63. So it's abundantly clear that we have a management problem, and it is not just a question of resources. It's interesting to talk about the polygraph. You have to be a prosecutor or prosecute a case or to have been in law enforcement to understand what an unbelievably effective tool a good polygraph examiner is. Yeah, you can't take it into court. That's not the issue. The issue is you want to find out who did it. And a seasoned examiner is absolutely invaluable. And there are very, very few small counties that would have a seasoned polygraph examiner who would be available. And so to be able to go to BCI, I was shocked when they told me the other day that for the entire state of Ohio, BCI has one polygraph examiner. There were more than that when I was a prosecuting attorney. This is just wrong. And nobody who is the Attorney General of the state who had been a prosecutor would have allowed that to exist for 1 minute. Just wouldn't have happened.
But you don't have a dollar figure for me?
I thought I answered it that we're not talking about extra dollars. We're not going to go in. There's no office holder next year that I'm aware of statewide is going to have more money. So we're talking about a management audit of the entire office. We're talking about setting priorities, and if we need to move resources to BCI, we will do it. You know, I can tell you, my priority will not be to spend $1.5 million on PR staff. That is not where I want to put my priorities. It is not my priority to spend over $100,000 on people who do Twitter. That's not where our priorities are. You know, let's get back to the core essential function of this office that no one else can do. And this, you know, when you talk about smaller counties particularly, they have no option. They don't have the option of going to another crime lab. There is no money there. They either come to BCI or they go nowhere. And, you know, to think that if you've got a pedophile case and the police go in, get the evidence, the judge gives the search warrant, you go in and you hit this house and you got a pedophile there and you grab his computer, because that's what always you want, everything's on that computer, and you take that computer back. Let's say Adams County does that, or Brown County, and they take it. What do they do with it then? They're going to take it to BCI and be told it's going to be 18 months? I've been told by 2 prosecutors it's 18 months. I mean, that's wrong. I mean, there's just something wrong with that. I'm outraged about it, and that's why I run for Attorney General. I will fix it. Another question?
Mr. DeWine, when you talk about the per analyst stats that you were quoting earlier, you know, that it's so much faster everywhere else, that, and then you also say that it doesn't have to do with the quality of the employees at BCI. I'm trying to understand that a little bit.
Yeah, it's called management, it's called production. Any business person in the state can tell you you can have good people in there. If you don't know how to manage them, you don't know how to run them, and you're not using the modern technology of productivity to get it done. I mean, I don't pretend to be, you know, I didn't get an A in science, so I don't pretend to be the person who's going to tell you how to run that crime lab on a day-to-day basis. But I know where the people are who can do it. And what we will do is do a management audit. We will bring an outside group in to look at it, but we also, candidly, will bring in people from the other crime labs whose productivity is so much greater. Absolutely shocking figures. Something's wrong there, where we're going to find out what it is. We're going to bring the people in who understand how to fix it. Anybody else? All right, thank you all very much.